Good morning, everyone. It's good to see all of you here in person. Go ahead and just find a comfortable position on your mat, whatever that might look like this morning. You can have your knees planted, your feet planted. All right, your feet planted and your knees pointed up to the sky, or you can have your legs extended long. Either way, feel free to move around as much as you need to feel like you're getting settled as well. Sometimes it's hard to go from the busyness of the morning and moving around quite a bit to feeling nice and settled on the mat. So take up space, do what you need to do. Just start to checking in with your body this morning. How is it feeling? Maybe you can think back over the week, notice anything you've done, maybe unusual or different movements that will help you notice maybe different muscles that need a little extra attention or that might be a little extra tense or need gentleness. I always think about this change in season, and with the change of seasons, I think that our activities can tend to change. So as it gets colder, we might be spending more or less time outside, depending on if you like the cold. But then we've got the seasonal activities that some of us do, raking the leaves or shoveling or swimming in the summer, things like that. And our bodies do change seasonally. And there's tends to be some times when we're getting more movement and sometimes we're getting less. Sometimes the weather also affects how we're feeling. So as it gets colder, we might feel that in our joints or our muscles. So it's just good to be mindful as we're, moving through this change of seasons. The weather's finally getting a little cooler. Take that into account as well. If things feel different today, maybe that has a little bit to do with it. So checking in with your body. And we're checking in with the breath. Starting to deepen your inhales and exhales. Bringing that air all the way down into your lower belly, nice and slowly. It doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. You can start to build up that breath. You might not even be able to take that full of a breath right away at the beginning. Just sip in a little bit more air. Lengthen your exhale as you do. If it feels good this morning, you can take that Ujjayi breath, which happens to be our focus pose today. We'll touch more on that in just a little while. And if you have a type of breath that feels good for you today, start to bring that in. Maybe it's the Ujjayi breath. Maybe it's Samavriti, so equal inhale and exhale. Ujjayi brings a lot of energy and heat into your body, fire. This is a breath that we often use in traditional vinyasa flow. Building that heat, building that energy is part of the vinyasa practice. But Samavriti breath is great for balance. It's great for that steadiness. A lot of times if we're feeling anxious about anything or feeling overwhelmed, taking that Samavriti breath, that equal inhale and exhale, can really ground us and steady us, finding that little balance. So whatever feels right to you today. So I'm going to just touch on our devotion and then we'll go right into our focus pose because it isn't necessarily a pose, it's this breath. But just start out as I'm reading, just breathe normally as it feels comfortable to you. Our scripture, our devotion today is the practice of using the extra minutes. And our scripture is from Psalm 90, verse 12. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Devotion says the idea that God provides is a big deal for Christians. We believe God takes care of people's needs, whether it's food, peace of mind, or spiritual support. We know God's help can show up in all kinds of ways, through nature, advice, comfort, just helping you get through challenging times. On a recent trip, I found myself impatient with the flight delay. The flight announcements blared over the loudspeaker, one after the other. The flight was delayed. There was no room on board for carry-on bags. The arriving passengers were to depart quickly, so the departing passengers could board quickly. Feeling my irritation rising, I went into my mind's toolkit and pulled out, God does provide. Maybe God provided these extra minutes to take a pause and spend time in prayer, and thus a spiritual practice began. Let out all the air, take a focused breath in and cleansing breath out. Combine breath with a gratitude prayer. The extra minutes, which were a nuisance only a short while earlier, turned into a blessing to my central nervous system. I used to think spiritual practice needed to be a predetermined amount of time, but really a mindfulness practice doesn't have to be a set amount of time. Sometimes minutes are all we have, but how we use those minutes can change the trajectory of our thoughts in the most impactful way. Time spent in a reflective nature with God is never wasted. Now our focus pose, this ujjayi breath. The oscillation of the throat and vagus nerve can have a calming effect. It is a smooth, audible breath that sounds like a wave. Laying in a comfortable position, close your mouth and breathe through your nose. Slightly constrict the back of your throat as if you are whispering. Inhale and exhale slowly and deeply through your nose. Maintain the constriction throughout the breath. Listen to the soft, hissing sound of your breath. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. More rounds of that ujjayi breath. Taking a slightly different approach to our practice today. Let's go ahead and hug your knees to your chest. Both legs fall over to the right side. Stay here on your right shoulder, right hip for a couple of breaths. You can rest your head on your right bicep if that feels good. Curl. Notice how your body feels in this position. It is a position of safety. Your heart, your belly are protected. So it can be calming to the nervous system. A couple of rounds of breath just like this. You'll like it. Take it into a twist, opening your left arm out to the left side, bringing your gaze up toward the ceiling, maybe out over your left shoulder. Knowing that your spine might not feel as flexible just now as it would at other times. It's okay. Keep that breath, that peace, that calm. Exhale, soften you a little further toward the earth, allowing your muscles to grow heavy. Often we create resistance in our own body without knowing it. We're engaging muscles without realizing we're trying to lift ourselves up and fight against gravity. This moment to relax into gravity, let gravity become your friend and your helper, melting away the tension. More rounds of breath here, nice inhale. Exhale. Breath in. Breath out. Next inhale, knees float up to center. Give them a little hug. Find stillness. Or you can find a little bit of movement. Feels good to circle out your knees. You can do that. Noticing side to side if there are any differences from right to left. No expectation of what the answer might be. And when you're ready, fall over onto your left side. Once again, stay here on left shoulder, left hip. You can rest your head on your left bicep if that feels good. Curl your knees in toward you. Again, this position of safety, security can be great for your nervous system. Similar to something like a child's pose, where the hearts and the internal organs are protected. The opposite of a camel pose or other deep back bends, where our hearts and chest are open. And neither are better or worse than the other, but this is a great way to just calm into the practice. Reminding your body that you're safe, taking that moment for spiritual reflection, taking that moment for peace. If you would like to, you can take this into a twist, opening your right arm out to the right side, bringing your gaze up toward the ceiling or over your right shoulder if it feels good. Again, recognizing that maybe your neck, your shoulders, your back have a little less flexibility right now. That's okay. Sometimes we'll take this posture a little later into our practice. The first thing we're doing, to give yourself that grace. Might not be able to twist as far. That's okay. Noticing that breath, even as you're twisting. Maybe feeling a little bit of a restriction in your rib cage. That twist puts a little bit of pressure on the deepest parts of our belly that we're breathing into. How can you maintain a nice deep breath as that's happening? Balance of breath here. When you're ready, inhale your knees back up to center. Again, give them a hug and hold in stillness. If it feels good, you can take a little bit of movement, maybe rocking from side to side, giving your low back a massage, maybe circling everything out. Finding that length up and down the spine. Hopefully feeling a sense of balance from right to left side, as much as possible. Beautiful. Go ahead. Bend your knees towards your chest. Grab onto your feet or your ankles. Happy baby pose. Grab the outside edges of your feet, your ankles, your big toes, whatever feels right. Knees bent towards your chest. Just hold in stillness for a moment. I want you to focus less on your hips. I know it's a deep hip stretch, but think about your back, your spine, and where your spinal column is pressing into the mat here. We have a natural curvature of the spine, and taking this happy baby pose flattens that curve just a little bit. So think about that. Think about relaxing up and down the length of your spine. I know our hips are probably talking to us as well. It's a deep hip stretch. Sending your mind's eye back toward your spine for a couple more moments. Now you can find some movement, maybe rocking side to side, bend one knee, straighten the other. Relax any of the tension you might be feeling in your hips. Find a little bit of playfulness. It's called happy baby for a reason. It might look and feel a little silly. That's the point. We're stretching into the hips, the lower back, the spine, internal and external hip rotators. Lots of good stuff happening here in this posture. When you're ready, go back to happy baby, making sure that you have a nice firm grip either on your feet or your ankles. Bending your knees towards your chest. And we're going to create a little resistance here. So pushing into your hands with your feet and then pulling down with your arms. This little bit of resistance that we're creating for ourselves, this engagement of the spine, pulling and pushing. So hopefully nothing's moving here. You're creating equal resistance. Nice deep breath in. And exhale, release that. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock and roll side to side or circle. Feels good. Little hip stretch to start out. Getting those hips engaged. Finding that resistance, sort of like when we engage our abdominals. Getting those muscles working and fired up. Beautiful. You're ready. Find your way over onto either side, pausing for just a moment before taking your top hand and pressing into the mat. Come to a nice, easy seated position. Slowly, carefully, find your way up. And then as you find your easy seat, just make sure that it's nice and grounded into your sits bones. You can sit up nice and tall, long. Little neck work this morning. Before we start on the neck, let's just do some shoulder circles. The shoulder circles. You can have your hands planted on your legs if that helps. Shoulders circling up towards your ears, squeezing together, and then down the back. Up, together, and down the back. And you can reverse this if that feels nice, going the other direction. Take one shoulder at a time. Notice the muscles between your shoulder blades and your spine. The muscles under your shoulder blade, your scapula. Feel how the neck responds to this movement. So much connection between neck and shoulders. And when you're ready, release that, let it go. Soften the shoulders away from your ears, almost like imagining someone has a gentle hand and they're pressing down onto your shoulders. All right, chin, crown of the head lifts up to the sky, and then the chin falls forward towards your chest. Bowing your head forward. As always, this bowing forward is not forcing our chin to touch our chest. That's not the goal. The goal is to really just relax, release the head. Our neck does so much work carrying our heads around, and our heads are heavy. And our neck is holding our head up all day long, turning, lifting. This is a chance to really just relax that, elongate the neck muscles. Maybe you feel it into your shoulders, that space. You're just noticing the space between the shoulder blade and the spine. Maybe you feel it up into your skull, some of those muscles that connect and make their way over the top of our head even. Sometimes we can feel this stretch in our face. Maybe you feel the connection all the way down at your back. Wherever you're feeling this, wherever you're noticing it, just send some breath there. Let the breath be your helper in this practice of releasing and relaxing, letting go. Exhale, softening your chin towards your chest just a little bit further. It doesn't have to be something that anyone else would notice. Just the intention of a little deeper stretch. Keeping your chin bowed forward. Just going to draw our gaze toward the right shoulder just a little bit. Doesn't have to be very far, maybe half an inch, an eighth of an inch toward the right. Feeling this stretch, maybe a little bit more down the back. Working into those upper back shoulder muscles as they connect into the neck. Exhale, simply soften back to center, into chest. Breath or two here, maybe noticing again, right to left. Are there any differences? Then when you're ready, draw your gaze toward the left shoulder. Doesn't have to be very far. Find a place where you feel a little stretch, but it's not
painful, not too much. You're not having to fight your body to be in this position. We gain so much from these gentle stretches. Because we're working with our body rather than against it. We're working to our body's capacity in that stretch rather than pushing for more and more, which sometimes has the opposite effect that we want to. And as we take these gentle stretches, sometimes we can create more and more flexibility. But it's the listening and honoring for bodies that can be most helpful. Ready, up and back, center, last time. If you can allow your chin to fall just a little further forward, with intention. Relaxing through your shoulders, your spine, up into your neck, and the muscles of your head. We've been in this fold for a little while. As we start to come out, do so very slowly, almost at a glacial pace. Gently rolling up your neck. So your head is up. Floating like a balloon. You take a moment to look from side to side. Gentle shake of the head. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Beautiful. Take a couple circles of the shoulders here as well. Very, very nice. A little deep neck work there. If you have your legs crossed, just switch whichever foot is on top. If you don't, it might be easier. We're going to take a little spinal stretch to cross your legs. Otherwise, just make sure that wherever they are, they're nice and grounded and planted. We're going to take a side body stretch here. So planting, grounding into the mat. Take your right hand outside your right leg. Left arm sweeps up and over. Side body stretch. Feeling this opening into your ribs. Now we've done all this neck work. So what I want you to think about is keeping your neck long. We're not crunching our shoulders and our neck into each other. Finding space still. Reaching up and out. So you notice your left hip lifting off the mat. Bring it back towards center. And breathe. Elbow reaching toward the sky. Not hinging forward at all. Look great. The breath in here. The breath out. Next inhale, turn it back up to center. Pausing here for just a moment. Right and left side. Right here, that feels good. Second side, left hand plants outside the left leg, right arm sweeping up and over. And with that side body stretch. Feeling this in the ribs, keeping your neck long. This posture is sort of a technical posture in the way that there's a lot of things that we need to be mindful of, right? We need to be mindful of our hip not lifting. We need to be mindful of our elbow reaching toward the sky, of our neck and shoulders not crunching together, keeping our arm engaged. There's lots going on here. So it might look sort of easy. It's not actually, but we're getting lots of benefits. It's muscles that are really hard to get into, the sort of lower back as it meets the hip. Nice elongation, a nice stretch. Deep breath in. Breath out, reaching just a little further. Next inhale, float it back up to center. Beautiful. Shake out your wrists. We're gonna make our way into tabletop in just a moment. So just shake out your wrists, warm them up. You can stretch your hands, whatever feels nice to you to prepare for some tabletop work. And then when you're ready, making your way into hands and knees tabletop position, checking in, making sure our shoulders are stacked right over our wrists, our hips are stacked right over our knees, our nice tabletop. We're engaging our core here. Little cat cow to start off with. You guys know this. So take your time here, inhaling, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, lift the gaze. You're dropping your belly, imagine scooping your lower back. And exhale, tuck the tailbone around through the spine, belly button draws up and in. Bow your head forward, gaze
to the top of your thighs. And as you keep rolling through this cat-cow, I encourage you to really make it your own. Know this posture, you know the basics of this posture. And so now allow yourself to find a little bit of playfulness, to find that little bit of, maybe you want to pause and hold and breathe in one position. Remember, if you're holding, if you want to stretch out and hold your shoulders, keep breathing. We're not holding our breath just because we're holding the posture. If you can pause. Find a little other movement, side to side, circling everything out. Again, feeling those low back muscles that we just stretched on the mat. Stretching a little bit more here. And move your hips, working into some of that hip mobility. Cat-cow, it's such a great sort of foundation for us to be mindful, be checking in with our body in a different way than when we're on our mats laying down. Because we're moving through, we really get sort of a first-hand view of what's going on with our bodies, what we need to stretch, what we need to wake up. Beautiful. You're ready. Bring your big toes together, knees wider than your hips. Hips sinking back toward your heels, arms reach forward, child's pose. Another one of these sort of gentle poses for a nervous system, calming poses for a nervous system. Make sure that your knees are wide enough that they allow space for your belly to drop as you breathe. Our traditional child's pose has our knees together. And while that can be great, it puts pressure on our abdomen. It puts pressure on the breathing apparatus. And so I love this extended child's pose because it allows us not only to breathe into the back side of our bodies, the ribs, which hopefully we feel expanding, but also allowing our bellies to expand with it. Hips sink toward the heels, chest and shoulders melt toward the earth. Reminder too, that this is a posture of rest. You're always welcome to find these postures of rest throughout practice, no matter what we're doing. It doesn't matter if we're doing a challenging flow or balance. It doesn't matter if we're working on abs or if we're just doing a gentle stretch. If your body needs that break, that rest time, it's a beautiful, beautiful gift to yourself and a beautiful expression of the yoga practice to take a break. But remember that always in my class and every other class you go to. A couple more breaths. When you're ready, we're inhaling back up to a tabletop. Check in with this alignment. We're going to find some balancing tabletop here. So make sure that we're nice and aligned, nice and grounded. Engage your core. I want you to think about drawing your belly button toward your spine, almost like someone had a hand on either side and they're pressing them together. That's how engaged our core is. Thinking also about the side of the body and the spine. We did a lot of work last week on abdominals and spine. So as you're here thinking about that whole core, extend your left leg long and lift it off the mat. Little balance here, engaging through the legs. Hopefully this feels good. If your foot is too far up, bring it back down. If you're feeling any discomfort in your lower back, bring your foot down a little bit. It doesn't have to go very high. If you want to add on, you want more, sweep your right hand forward. Imagine someone's pulling your arm and your leg in opposition. Now you don't have to point or flex your foot, but do one or the other. Doesn't matter which, but engage your foot. Breathing here as much as you can. See if you can inhale. One more, reaching your arm and your leg away from each other. Nice job, yogis. Great balance. Exhale your right hand down. Keep your leg lifted. Feel into the glutes, the hamstrings, even the calf a little bit here. And then exhale the left knee down. Shake out the wrists, nice and strong. You'll be feeling a little bit of heat building in your body as we work the core, as we wake things up. Second side, remembering to engage all of those core muscles. Now slide your shoulders away from your ears. Neck is long. Right leg reaches back. Pointing or flexing, doesn't matter which. Keeping your foot below your hip. Make sure you kind of take a tuck of the tailbone as well. We don't want to sway into the lower back. So if you feel like there's any sort of sway happening, tuck those hips under. Nice, yogis, really good. If you want to reach your left arm forward, finding that full balance here. Notice if you're moving a little bit right to left, that's okay. That's part of it. So as we feel that movement side to side, that's those muscles stabilizing. It's us stabilizing in this position of balance. Breath in as you reach. Exhale the left hand down, keep the right leg lifted. One of the great things about a balance pose is you do build muscle just by stabilizing yourself. And exhale your right knee down. Find your child's pose, either extended or traditional, whatever feels best. Stretch it out, couple breaths. Those postures, especially where we're engaging core, where we're breathing deeply, and to bring warmth and heat into our body. That's good because we are about to stand up and take our standing practice. So hopefully the rest of our body is on board. A little bit of more vigorous movement here in just a moment. One more nice deep breath in here. And breath out. Inhale back up to your tabletop. And you can always skip downward dog if that doesn't feel great in your body today. It is up to you. But if you're going to go through downward dog with me, go ahead and tuck your toes under. Engage your core, lift your hips up and back. Find your inverted V. So downward facing dog. We've got feet about hip width apart in parallel. Heels reaching toward the mat. They don't have to touch. One thing I want you to think about is, can you soften your knees just a little bit? Oftentimes you want to lock out the knees, and then that makes us shift our posture forward, and then we've got a little arch in our lower back. That's not what it. Bend your knees, press your chest towards your thigh. Soften your gaze as well. So you're gazing back toward the top of your thighs, your feet. Maybe shake your head no, nod your head yes. You find some playfulness. Once you've found this alignment, you can play with it, bending one knee then the other. Feeling the stretch in the calf and the hamstring. Feeling the ankles waking up, bottoms of the feet. You can lift up onto the balls of the feet, feeling the hips lift toward the ceiling, and then lower back down, keeping the lift in the hips. You can take a three-legged down dog, lifting one leg, then the other. Lots to play with here in this posture. Have fun for a couple more breaths. Yogi's choice. Keep breathing as you do. Bring your gaze between your hands, deep bend in your knees, and exhale, step your feet forward, forward fold, ragdoll pose. And again, we've got our alignment of feet, hip width distance apart. You can bend your knees again as much as you need here. Sometimes we are straightening our knees so much that we're locking the knees out, and then we're putting pressure on the joints. We're not able to soften and relax as much. Even if you can touch the floor with your knees straight, just bend them and let your upper body relax. Head, neck, shoulders soften down. You want to grasp opposite elbows. Find a little movement side to side. Breathing. Little inversion. We talked earlier about how heavy our head is. See if you can let the head just soften. Maybe growing a little taller through your shoulders and neck. When you're ready, release your hands deep, deep bend in your knees, tuck your hips under, and then very slowly, take your time, all the way up to standing. Head comes up last. Just give yourself a moment or two to adjust to being standing. Find that groundedness in your feet. Find that length in your spine. Beautiful, yogis. All right. So now that we are standing, we're going to take our little sun salutation, half sun salutation A. So flowing through this sun salutation, always thinking about that breath to movement. Feet planted facing the top of the mat, nice and tall. Let's go ahead. Inhale, sweep arms high. Reach up to the sky and exhale, forward fold. Again, bend your knees as much as you need. Inhale, find your halfway lift, flat back, long spine, gaze to the top of the mat. Exhale, forward fold, release. Inhale, sweep arms high, reaching all the way up, growing taller. And then exhale, open arm twist to the left. Sweep your left arm behind you, gaze over your left shoulder. Fingers reaching away from each other. Inhale, sweep arms high, reach up to the sky. And exhale, open arm twist to the right. You soften your shoulders from your ears. Beautiful. Inhale, sweep arms high, lifting up and out of your hips to prepare. And then exhale, heart open. Smile through the collarbone, little baby back bend. Always lifting up and out of the hips. You're beautiful. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, hands to heart center. 2 more times, just like that, yogis. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Got this. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Not locking out the knees. Inhale, sweep arms high, reach to the sky. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, open arm twist to the right. Inhale, sweep arms high, preparing, lifting up and out of your hips. And exhale, heart open, smiling through the collarbone. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Last time through, I'm going to do it silently. You know this posture. If you need help, just look up here for guidance when you're ready. As you've completed sun salutation, just pause here. A couple breaths. Palms pressing into each other. Feel the heat, the energy throughout your body from your toes, head to your fingertips. Feel your heart beating, your blood flowing. A nice deep breath in. And on the open mouth, exhale, sigh it out together. Take one more of those. Inhale. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. Beautiful, yogis. Shake it out. Very nice. Grab a sip of water if you would like to. And so for our balance today, we're actually going to sort of look at a warrior posture and then take that into a balance. So a little different, a little work strengthening our legs as well in the balance. Not that all balance isn't strengthening the legs. So when you're ready, face toward the top of your mat. Give yourself a little space as well to step back. So you might want to take a couple steps forward. Hands on hips to start off with, feet are parallel. Then you're going to step back with your left foot. We're coming into a warrior one position. We've got shoulders over hips, right? We've got a bend in our front right knee. Back foot is sort of heel to heel alignment. Back foot is sort of at a 45-degree angle here. Yes, everyone looks great. Then we're facing the top of the mat. Now, if you're bending your front, as you're bending your front right knee, just make sure you're not bending it any further forward than your toe. Trying to keep that knee either lined up right above your ankle or just a little further back. Now from here, let's inhale, sweep arms higher, reaching it up to the sky. It's our warrior one, nice strong warrior, shoulders slide away from your ears. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sweep our arms open arm twist to the left. So left arm opens to the side, gaze over to the side, but I want our hips to try and stay the same. So our hips are trying to stay facing forward as our shoulders and torso opens up. I know it's a little tricky, a little challenging. You guys look great. So that left hip is shifting forward as much as you can. Beautiful. And then inhale, sweep arms high back to that warrior one. I'm gonna open it up to the other side. Right arm sweeps back behind. Again, little balance challenge here. A little different than normal. Beautiful, really nice job, you guys. Reaching your arms away from each other, shoulders away from the ears. Got it. Inhale, sweep arms high one more time. Then here's our last little variation. As you're here, I know our thighs are talking to us. We're just gonna start to hinge forward with our torso. Hinging forward just a little bit, arms reaching up. Nice and strong. Beautiful. Want to sweep your arms back behind you for a little change? You can try that as well. Now gaze forward to the top of the mat. Nice deep bend of both knees. Step your left foot forward to meet your right. Release your hands. Shake out your standing leg. Little warrior one balance combo there. Something a little different. All right, second side. Working on our thighs for sure today. All right, hands on hips to start. Right foot steps back. Again, we're finding that warrior one position. Shoulders over hips. Nice alignment here, heel to heel. Left toe pointing forward. The right toes are sort of at a 45-degree angle as much as possible. So if this is uncomfortable for your knee, you can make some adjustments here as well. It does not have to be perfect. I would rather have you take care of your knee joints. Making sure that this knee isn't going too far over the toes either. All right, sinking down, nice warrior. Inhale, sweep arms high. Warrior one, so strong here. Tucking the hips under as well, making sure we're taking that arch out of the lower back. Yes, beautiful. All right, starting out, sweep open arm twist to the right. So we're not opening our hips up into a warrior two, but keeping our hips training forward, trying to keep that right hip toward the top of the mat as much as possible. This is why it's a challenge. You guys look great. Shoulders away from your ears, squeezing your shoulder blades together as much as you can. Beautiful. Let's inhale, sweep arms high. Keeping that nice deep bend in the front left knee. And open arm twist to the left. Again, we're feeling that balance challenge, not because we're standing on one foot, but because we're here, in this interesting position. Our center of gravity is a little different and we're moving through it in a twist. Beautiful, yogis. Really nice job. Inhale, sweep arms high. Here's our last variation. Keeping a nice straight spine, we start to hinge forward. It's where it's getting challenging, right? We've got a lot of weight, got a lot of strength in that quadriceps muscle. Feeling it probably in the glutes, maybe the lower back. You can sweep your arms back behind you. That feels nice. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Beautiful. Last movement, gaze to the top of the mat. Bend your knees. Exhale, step your right foot to meet the left. Shake out your standing leg. Whew. Shake it out. Get the heart beating. So little balance moving through. I know it's tricky, right? It doesn't seem like we're doing too much, but that isometric hold does a lot. Let's go ahead and find our way down to the mat in a seated position facing the top of the mat. All right, we already did abs, right? Bring your feet together, knees open like a book. Let's take our Baddha Konasana. Holding onto your ankles or your feet. Sit up nice and tall. So you can stay here. This is great. You can bow your chin to your chest, or you can walk your hands forward onto the mat. Starting to slow down your breath. That center, rather that middle part of our practice, going from engaging through our core to sun salutations to balance challenge. All of that really helps elevate our heartbeat, elevate our heart rate, get our blood pumping, warm us up. And now our job as we move toward the calmer part of our practice and move toward Shavasana is to soften all of that down again. So breathing, taking slow, deep inhales, long exhales, feeling this stretch. Your thighs, hip flexors, your lower back. Wherever you are, try to soften your chin towards your chest. Here for a couple more breaths, so soften in. If you're ready, gently make your way back up to seated. Carefully extend your legs one at a time in front of you. Take a little tap, a little windshield wiper. Just moving into muscles. Beautiful. Go ahead and open your legs into a straddle pose. So this is a V. It's not a splits. So only as far as your legs want to go. You don't want to force them too far, especially right now, because we're going to lean into it. So if this is uncomfortable, bring your feet together, right? It doesn't have to be very extreme. We're not trying to do a split or anything. Starting here, take your right hand outside your right leg. Left arm sweeps up and over. We're taking a side body stretch. So very similar to at the beginning of our practice. Making sure the hip doesn't lift up at all. So if you feel like your left hip is lifting, bring it back towards center. The difference here, of course, is we've got our legs in the straddle. So now we're feeling a stretch in the inside of those muscles that we've just been working so hard on. Flexing or pointing your toes.
Whichever feels best. We're just wanting to engage the muscles around the knee. Elbow reaching up toward the sky. Nice deep breath in. And breath out. Then preparing to change, we take an inhale. The exhale, we're going to shift so that our torso is facing out over the right leg. And hinge forward. So as we hinge, we're trying to keep a straight spine as much as we can. It doesn't have to be much, doesn't have to be crazy. And if you find from here that your legs are too far apart, again, bring the feet back closer together. Feeling this in the muscles up and down the back of the leg, hamstrings, maybe up into your lower back as well. Softening with each breath. Doing is we're creating space. We're inviting in that circulation, that blood flow. If it's painful, you lift up towards center a little more, bring your feet closer together. It shouldn't be painful, but we should feel maybe that little burn of a nice stretch. When you're ready, slowly walk your hands back up to center. Maybe where you are, just take a little tap of your knees here. Maybe a little wiggle of your feet left to right. Just notice, how does your right leg feel in comparison to your left? Is there any difference? Sometimes you'll feel a little more warmth or flexibility. Sometimes you're not going to feel any difference at all. Taking second side, left hand plants outside the left leg, right arm sweeps up and over. Feeling your side body stretch here. And maybe this feels different than the other side, right? Because we use our bodies differently, asymmetrically from side to side. So maybe we're going to find, oh my goodness, we can stretch so much further on this side, or this is quite a bit tighter than the other side. That's okay. That's where our mind-body connections come in, where we can honor that, adjust as we need to. And we're breathing. Couple things to keep in mind. Again, keeping your hip planted. It's always okay to come back to center a little further. It's always okay to bring your feet closer together. We hopefully are feeling this a little bit in the inside of those legs, sort of those muscles that come from the knee toward the inner corner of the hips. Maybe you're feeling it as well down sort of in your calf muscles. And you're maybe feeling this as well in your lower back ribs. Couple breaths. Preparing for a change, inhale. On the exhale, we're going to turn and face out over that left leg and hinge forward. Whatever that looks like for you. So as I say hinge forward, maybe that just means the intention is a half an inch forward or whatever. Maybe you're mostly sitting up straight. Intention is to lean forward. This is really intense. So even more so than our traditional seated forward fold, this is getting into some of those deeper muscles. Same muscles, but it's getting into them in a deeper way. We're targeting them. We're isolating them. So take it to your capacity today, whatever that looks like. Breathe. This is one of those instances where it's really nice to take your time with the stretch. So we can very easily pop into the stretch and pop out. But now we're giving our muscles the gift of a slower stretch that gets a little deeper, gets into that long-term flexibility, that muscle memory. A couple more breaths while we're here. And you're ready, very slowly make your way up to center. And as you tap your knees, just walk your feet back together. Little windshield wiper. Very nice. Nice deep stretches there. You can circle out your ankles. Last little fold here. Flexing your toes. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, hinge forward. Straight spine. Once you reach that point where you can't hinge anymore, arms relax on either side, and then you round. Rounding through your spine. We don't round very often in our yoga practice. So really finding this almost what we would consider bad posture, rounding forward, chin to chest. And maybe you're feeling some of the same muscles that we felt in the straddle stretches. And maybe we're feeling different muscles. Maybe it's a mix of both.
Full breaths. When you're ready, very slowly roll all the way up to seated and then all the way back down onto the mat. Hug your knees into your chest, letting go of the efforts, circling out your knees. Last official pose before Yogi's Choice in Shavasana. Feet plants, hip width apart, left foot presses over the right leg. Supine pigeon, you can stay here. You can interlace your hands behind your right knee, keeping your feet flexed to protect the knee joints, keeping your shoulders, your neck, your head nice and soft. Breathing. One of the areas we did work today, especially with that challenging little balance sequence, is the glutes. So as we take this stretch, sort of giving them a thank you for their hard work, encouraging them to soften and release any tension that might have built up through that posture. Take a couple breaths. You're ready. Release both feet back down onto the mat. Little movement side to side. Taking second side, right ankle crosses over the left. And stay just like this, or interlace your hands behind your left knee. Hug everything close into your body. You get to decide the depth of this stretch today. You get to honor what you're feeling, how your hips are feeling. If we're particularly tense, it's okay to just stay with your feet planted on the mat. Okay to not pull your legs in too close. Remember, always, whatever position you're in, the foot flexes to protect the knees, and then the shoulders, the neck, and the head, they don't get involved. We don't need to turn this into a crunch. Everything that isn't actively involved in the stretch. So our hands, our knees, our feet, everything else is soft and relaxed as much as possible. Couple breaths. When you're ready, release both feet back down onto the mat. Little movement side to side. And here we have come to our last posture before Shavasana. We've got Yogi's Choice, whatever feels best in your body today. Maybe you want to take legs up a wall. Maybe you want to take another happy baby or a supine twist. Maybe you want to take Supta Baddha Konasana, or maybe your body is saying, hey, I need rest. Let's just go right into Shavasana and take an extra long Shavasana today. That's okay too. Your choice. What feels good? What works in your body? Take a few breaths of that. Softening breath even further, letting it go. Releasing expectation or judgment. Releasing any feelings about how practice went today. Releasing any worries, excitements. Anything we're thinking about for the rest of the day. Wait. And when you're ready, with no urgency at all, just make your way into your final resting pose, your final Shavasana. Taking up as much space as you need to feel comfortable. Arms by your sides. You can have your palms facing down for groundedness if you feel that's something you need today, or up for energy. That's something you feel like you need to. Going to come around with some bergamot essential oil and a little shoulder massage. If you would prefer that I skip you today, please give me a little wave now and I'll honor that request. Thank you so much. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. If you'd like to stay in your Shavasana, you're very welcome to do so. If you'd like to come out, start to deepen the breath. Longer inhales and exhales. Finding a little bit of gentle movement in fingers and toes. Maybe rocking your head from side to side. Waking up the body gently, slowly. Then when you're ready, your way over onto either side, pausing here for just a moment. This gentle restorative posture, finding a couple of breaths here. Gratitude to yourself for taking time out of your day. Move and breathe, for taking that moment of mindfulness. And gratitude to your body for the incredible things that it is capable of doing. When you're ready, gently make your way into a nice seated position. Bring your hands together at heart center. Finish out our practice honoring one another. So, the deepest respect, so that the light of Christ in me loves and honors the light of Christ in each and every one of you. Namaste. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today.
Could you email that one to me?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jeanette.